morning and welcome to another Monday morning art talk. Just a reminder that CTN's coming up, and on November 19th, the night before, Thursday night from 6 p.m. onwards till the night ends, I'm going to be having a party at my school, a drawing party. So all are welcome. So feel free to just look at the link that's listed at the end of this video. You can register through there. Just need to RSVP and show up, and I look forward to seeing you guys there. So what I want to talk to you today is about the mindset of just having ideas and then just pursuing them and not just talking about it, because it happens all the time. How many times have you had ideas where you think of something and all of a sudden, I don't know, it could be a year later or something, it pops up, or you see someone else do it and you go, God, man, I thought of that. Why didn't I do something about it? And it happens all the time. So what it really comes down to is how willing are you to really pursue the things that you talk about all the time. And I just want to tell you a funny story that happened just yesterday. So there I was cleaning up my dog poop, as I do, not as often as my wife wants me to, but I clean it up out there a few days a week, picking up the poop. And my one dog, his poops, you know, they're not solid all the time. They get wet. And when if any of you guys have dogs and you go to grab the poop, you know, in a bag, and it's just wet, and it's just now it sort of gets on the grass, and the dogs can track it in, and it's a pain in the ass. So I'm sitting there, I'm picking up the poop, and my mind's always spinning. I mean, I think of inventions a lot of the time. I always have. I had these different ideas. And so I thought, God, wouldn't it be cool if there was some sort of thing that you could just spray, that you could spray it and you could freeze it or do something. Freeze the poop so that it gets hard, so I don't have to deal with all this time. I go, God, that's a great idea. And that's why I ran into my house to my wife, hey, and my daughter, I had this great idea. What? This is a multi-billion-dollar idea. I could go on Shark Tank. This is going to be awesome. So basically, you know, and I explained the story. So basically, you take a can, and I'm started just to think up names, and I'm sitting there, and I go, poop freeze. You call it poop freeze. And what it is it's a bottle, and you take it, and you go, and you can spray the dog's poop, and it freezes it, and it makes it hard, so you don't have to deal with that mess anymore. Oh, it's genius. But the first thing you ever have to do when you come up with ideas is you got to research it. You got to make sure that no one else has done it before you. You want to make sure it doesn't exist, right? Otherwise, what's the point sometimes? I mean, sure, you can create something and maybe make it a better product or do something. There's not just room for one product, but it can sometimes put the hindrance and go, well, make you think a little bit more. And I want to research, is that product doing well? And so anyway, I went on Google and I just typed in poop freeze. But first of all, I wanted to see if the name was even taken. Sure enough, poop freeze exists. Poop freeze exists. Someone else made the product. It's an actual product, does the exact same thing with the exact same name. Poop freeze. There's even a little video. But then I start reading reviews and people start saying it's lame and it doesn't work and it doesn't really freeze it. So, you know, there's room there. So don't take poop freeze. And, you know, so things like that happen. But now it's a matter of, you know, how willing are you going to take action? And in my mind, I'm like, I'm ready to take action. I'm ready to create this thing, right? And this happened again, but you can't act on everything, so you got to sort of know, okay, what am I supposed to act on, what not? You got to listen to those whispers. And then there was another, like 3 years ago, there I was talking with my a friend of mine who just lives down not too far from here, and we're discussing this. What he does, he owns a Robex juice. It's like a Jumbo Juice, a thing. He owns a few of them, but he's also the CEO of that company, and he just became recently CEO of this Robex juice. And we were talking like 3 years ago, well, you know what we need, wouldn't it be cool if there was a pizza place, but you can build your own pizza and make your own pizza, kind of like a Subway? That would be so cool, you know. We were just talking about it and just shooting the ideas. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Man, yeah, I've never seen that before. And all of a sudden, within the last year, 2 years, what's exploded here in California anyway, I think it's all around, are these pizza places where you make your own pizza, like Subway. You tell them exactly what you want on the pizza and they cook it for you, and it's a no-brainer idea. But now they're all over the place, but they never used to exist. They weren't around, or they weren't on this part of the planet. And it's one of those things where when I was talking to my friend who's the other day about this, he said, you know what, it's funny you mentioned that, because in my board meeting, I brought that up. I brought up our conversation about the difference between things working and things not working. The reality is he's sitting in this meeting talking about, we need to come up with ideas. We need to do things in order to progress our business and move it forward, but we need to take action on those things. And he said, and I even brought up that conversation you and I had like 3 years ago about this pizza place. The only thing that stopped us is we never took the action. We just talked about it. And that's the reality. And he was saying too, so that's what happens with people in the whole business world, is that everyone talks about these things they want to do and achieve and accomplish, but they just don't take the action. And that's really what this art talk is about taking the action. But before you can take any action, you have to have the idea. So it's so important to write things down as much as possible, and even as far-fetched as they are. Look at things around you that you just feel are missing. What's missing to you in the art world? What do you feel there's a lack of? What do you feel there's a lack of in the commerce, out there in the real world, or everyday products you use? Because just because you're an artist doesn't mean you can't come up and invent other things. Look at Leonardo da Vinci. Look at all the things that he came up with and thought up and say he was an inventor, right? And you can do the same thing, but the beauty is you can draw out the plans. You can sketch it out and think about it, but you got to go through the same steps like drawing and designing. Is you got to do research. Whenever I design a character, I got to research about that character. I want to know the costuming. I want to know where they live. As much about that character's world as I can get. That's the exact same thing you want to do with any sort of product that you're going to be developing too. You have to do the research. So once you have this idea, again, don't just write it off because you go, well, I just want to be an artist and I just want to work in the studios. That may never happen for you, but there's other options out there that may happen for you. And when you look at what inspires me is when I look at shows like Shark Tank, and if you guys haven't seen that show, Google it, look at it on YouTube. It's all these entrepreneurs who come up with these ideas and they build their businesses and they make something out of nothing. And that's what art's all about, is making something out of nothing, creation, ideas, the things that we have. So I encourage you to don't invent those things, come up with those ideas, but research it, see if the product exists, see if there's a name. If not, register that name. The first thing you should always do when you come up with a smart or an idea, even though you don't use it, register your business name for on the internet. Not register it, just get that domain name. You may never use it. I've had so many domain names that I have registered. It's crazy. I don't even want to talk about it. The names that I've had in the past, and what happens is I get like a year membership. I get a year thing. It cost me $12 or something for the year to own that name. But now I have that name. So if another company, if I think it's a creative name, well, or if it's for an idea for a show or something else, well, you really want that domain name, right? So people are going to be researching that too and go, oh, someone else has the domain name. We want to change it. We're going to do something different. So that's why if you just register your domain name, well, then at least you got a year, 2 years if you're going to do something with it. A lot of times with me, I get these wild brain ideas. Again, I'm ADD in that way. I'm just thinking all the time and, oh, that'd be cool, and I go ahead and do it, and nothing comes of it. But, hey, at least I took the action, and that's the bottom line, is take the action. Do the thing that, and follow it through. And so it doesn't just stop at the idea. How far are you willing to take something? And how far are you willing to take something within your own career? Take those risks and not be so afraid of the outcome. And not worrying about what may happen at the end of the day, because you just don't know. You just got to try it. You have to experiment with things. You got to see if anything can come of it, and it may not work out. And so what? It didn't work out. So what you got to do is just find, you either make that choice of like, well, I'm either going to try this, this, and this, and you may decide, you know what, I've tried this, this, and this, and maybe my mind's in a different place now, and I don't want to be there anymore, and that's not what I want to do. And that's the beautiful thing about life, is just that you have the choices and the options to, if you have the right mindset, to create and do the things that you want to do. You don't have to be in that place that you've maybe been for so long that you just feel like this is all there is, because that isn't the case, okay? So much of this is just about your way of thinking. Sometimes, again, you're going to get those new jobs, that new part, that new thing's going to happen. It's going to happen throughout your life, and it's going to ignite you, and it's going to excite you, and you're going to be like gung-ho about it. But you know what happens, and you've all been through it, it eventually wears off. You've eventually been there, and it's not what it was. Those highlights that happen in your life, they're going to be there for that moment, but eventually it's going to wear down. And what happens when it goes down? Well, you got to be on that roller coaster, and I've reached my high point, and this has been exciting, and I'm up here, and then you're going to go down, and then you got to work your way back up again. And it's going to be constantly doing this throughout your career, and having that awareness and following through with the things you want to do is what it's all about. So thanks again for tuning in, and I say farewell. See you guys next week. Take care. Understand what is happening all underneath here.